As a recruiter, a big part of my job is working with candidates during their job interview process. And a lot of the time, even if I'm not working with a candidate on a specific role, I still get people reaching out to me for little tips and tricks for interviews and preparing for interviews, etc. And it got me thinking about one thing specifically that I feel like a lot of candidates don't think about but really need to when entering that job searching phase of their career. And even if you're not looking for a new job right now, it's just something to carefully, consciously think about in your current position so you can stack up as much leverage as possible for your next steps. So, that is basically the mindset of if I was away tomorrow or I quit, what value is missing? Okay. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this specifically is because, and it's going to tie into my next point here, is why is this all important? The main reason why this is important is that firstly, on a day-to-day basis, if you are looking to actually progress in your career, so look, there are many different types of people in the work industry. There are some people that do a certain task and they're happy with that task and on a similar amount of money for the rest of their life. That's perfectly fine. They are perfectly allowed to do that. All right. There are other people though that are looking to constantly go up and climb the corporate ladder. Okay, whether that is internally or externally, these people have the ambition to continually try to go to another level. Okay, now whilst that is perfectly fine, you can't just say it and then expect it to all fall in place. A big part of this is that you are going to obviously go through phases where you're going to be trying to find new jobs and find new pieces of work. Now, the thing with this though is that when you're applying for a job, half the time it's not just going to be you being approached or you just applying for a position, it's going to be you and hundreds of other people. Okay, so what you need to be doing is when you're in that job interview phase, you need to be standing out. And obviously, you know it from my content and hundreds of other people who talk about this sort of stuff. You need to sell your value, not your skills. Okay, or sorry, sell your value, okay, and build on how those transferable skills are valuable to what they're after. Don't just talk about skills on a general level, okay? Now, where am I going with all of this, okay? If you are going on value, okay, and you need to sell yourself to the company on your value, and this could even matter for an internal promotion, all right? You need to actually work out what your value is, okay? So it's all well and good in saying, if you're in a particular role and you want to be like, yep, I do A, B, and C, a lot of the time people will knock you back because they'll be like, well, that's what your job is meant to do. Okay. It's kind of like saying, in a football perspective, all right, oh, I'm a striker. Yes, please sign me. I score goals. It's like, okay, thank you. You're meant to. All right. So you want to obviously avoid that trap of just basically highlighting things that you are already paid to do, highlighting things that your job is already expecting of you to do. Okay. And where you need to go and your bargaining spot is that you are doing things differently to other people. Okay. So a big thing that you need to be thinking about as soon as possible is that if you were not working tomorrow or if you quit tomorrow, what part of the operational process would be missing? Okay, what in the company would take a hit? Okay, if you were to step back tomorrow and they couldn't hire somebody tomorrow and they couldn't get in somebody to do the job casually, okay, how many different people in the company would have to come together to take up your new role or to take up your position? Okay, how much time out of all these other people's days would be taken out because they would have to be doing your workload and taking on everything that you do? All right, that is something you consciously need to think about as soon as possible. Okay, you need to be thinking about this as soon as possible because in order to work out your value, in order to understand, okay, what you do differently to every other candidate going for a job, is you need to take a step back and think, well, if I'm physically not where I am right now, okay, what's going to happen? And what will happen is that there will be some of you that will take that step back and you'll probably get angry hearing this because you're going to be like, oh, okay, I am actually super important here because I'm not only doing my job, but I'm also doing this guy's job, I'm doing that person's job, and it's not being reflected in my salary. Okay, that's great. All right, that is one problem that you can now build on to speak in negotiations internally or to sell yourself externally. Okay, but there will be other people that will take a step back and go, actually, you know what? There's not a lot there. Okay. And that is where now you need to take that step back and think, is that because I'm not being assigned enough work? Is it because I'm not being trusted with enough work? Are the people around you there at the same time as you? Are they more experienced, less experienced? What are they doing that's taking on more of a workload? Are there people with the same job title as you? You know, are there people that do the same work as you, have been there at the same time, but they're taking on more? Why is that happening? You know, so you need to be taking that conscious step in identifying your day-to-day process, okay, and trying to work out what it is exactly that you are currently doing that is currently a necessity to the business and operational flow, okay? And once you do this, guys, you'll be able to understand your value and you'll be able to sell yourself a lot better and a lot more confidently in a job interview, or even speaking internally over negotiations for a higher salary or internal promotions, okay? Now, your actionable step here is to literally do as I said, okay? Take a step back, think about if you weren't there, what it is that would be missing, and what it is that other people around you would need to step in and fill, okay? It is extremely important, guys, that you understand the specific value that you add to a company, okay? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to sell yourself of what the job is expecting of you, okay? You can't go in and be like, yep, I do A, B, and C, because that's already the expectation. That's already why you're getting paid $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year, because you're doing those things. All right. They're looking for somebody who does those things and on top of that has achieved things in their internal environment based on these characteristics or based on these expectations. They're looking for somebody that can already do the basics and do the standards, okay, but also add value and create achievements from it, okay? So it's up to you now to identify this, identify what it is in your workflow, what it is in your influence that you are bringing to the company, what it is that you can actually bring of value, and that if you weren't there, what other people around you would be doing and how things would still run. Okay? Your actionable step here, in from a reflection perspective, is that if you are taking that step back and you are realizing you're not that influential, you need to either have a conversation internally with your bosses to be like, what, like, is there more I can do? What, like, if you have a specific target, if you have a specific job title that you're after, speak with your boss and be like, what are the things that you would expect from somebody of this title? Okay. And start to take on more and more slowly but surely. Don't overwhelm yourself, but understand, speak to your boss if there's an upcoming project, ask for a little bit more responsibility, or even if you don't want to ask that specifically, if that feels a little bit too daunting, be like, what are the characteristics that someone to take on more responsibility should be doing on a day-to-day basis? And then you work up to that over the next month to 2 months, okay? Overall, the actionable step here and our call to action in this episode is to consciously realize the value we are adding to a company, okay? And if we're not adding enough at the moment, we need to be working on that over the next 1 to 3 months to be bringing in more value and to take on more responsibility so we understand our genuine worth as quick as possible, so then we can build on this for other jobs, and then people around you in your internal environment will have more appreciation of your skill set and potentially reward you for this as well, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did and you'd like to work with me on a one-to-one level, click the link below for a free consultation. Happy to organize a 30-minute chat. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care. I'll see you guys next time.